So let's give it a go. So this is the end result of the labyrinth. This one here. And the X, this cross is where we're going to start. And the little loop above the cross, let me put a, I'm going to put a little yellow center. That little loop there is the center that we are heading to. Okay, right. So, and because, as you can see on this kind of tree-like form, the center is actually roughly, well, it's just below the halfway line. So we don't need to start with our cross in the center of the page. Sorry about my shadow, but let's try it anyway. So, yes, I'm going to draw it upside down. So this is nearer the bottom of the page. This cross is going to be at the start, in the bottom third of my page. There's going to be a slight angle of the drawing. I have drawn a cross. Let's try this. By all means, switch to the web link that I've shown you. On this cross, then, at equal points around, you're giving 4 dots as if these were the 4 corners of a square around this cross. Try and treat this process as a meditation in itself. Any confusion, just drop it and start drawing circles and spirals with your breath. Drop the maths. So in between the dot and the cross, I'm going to draw an L shape. So parallel to my original cross.
Katie, sorry, are we meant to be doing it with you, or are we just meant to be looking?
I would do it with me.
Ah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, do it with me.
Okay.
Thanks for asking. I think if you don't do it with me, you'll just get lost. You can, if it doesn't work this time around, then use the web reference, and also I'll send a little link out to this particular clip of this session, a video, send a video link. So draw it with me, this cross in the middle, this center, the 4 dots, which are spaced evenly as if this original cross was in a box, was in a square, and then on each corner, draw an L shape, halfway between the dot and the cross. And breathe. Think of this as funny if it all goes wrong, like a child spinning in the grass, getting dizzy and falling over and laughing. Think of it like that. Let yourself get a little bit lost. The drawing of this labyrinth is in itself going to be funny. And then from this top cross and pointing towards your, I've just realized you might be in a mirror image. I might be in a mirror image. So I'm not going to talk left or right. Just going to say from the top, loop over the top of the cross to the top of the L next to it, going in one direction. And then you move again at these top two L's. You've joined one L to the top of the cross. You take the other L and you take that one over in the same direction as the loop you've just made, and you join it to the top of the dot on the opposite side. So you've done two loops, both in the same direction. And then the third loop, you're going to take the final remaining dot at the top of your drawing at the moment and take that loop over, trying to keep the space between each loop fairly even. You take that loop over and join it to the nearest L as you loop it all the way over. And if this is already lost you, just let go and laugh, smile, and draw your own doodly, wiggly, maze-like shape. Okay, now we're still in this top half of the drawing, and I'm taking the final limb of the L that's left in this top half, and I'm looping that all the way around, again trying to keep the space even, and this finally joins onto that original cross in the middle. So each of these loops is going in the same direction, and you might be mirror image to the original, but that's okay. When you get your copy from the website, you can practice it the other way around. Finally now, or next, we go back to this original cross. I'm going to highlight my original cross so that we can see where we started. Eventually we lose this pattern from the center. So I'm starting from the original cross, following a loop all the way around. And this joins on to the nearest L shape on that lower section of the drawing. So you can see there is a pattern forming, that each time we're going from left to right or right to left, depending on which way up you are, and you're taking the next section down. So now I'm on this remaining limb of the L in the bottom half. I'm taking it all the way around. I can see my circle's getting a bit wonky, but that's okay. And I join to the bottom dot from that original plan. I think we're nearly there. Two more. Taking now the last remaining dot that's on its own, looping that all the way around. Certainly is easier because I've drawn this once at the weekend. It's easier to do. Taking it all the way around and joining it to the L on the opposite side, which leaves me with the only thing left is the last L, looping all the way around. I'm going to slightly run out of space on one side of my piece of paper. I'm looping it all the way around, and this comes to the bottom of the cross. So all the limbs of the cross, the L's and the dots, have been joined up. And you can let me know in the chat if that's worked or not, or we can just go with whatever has appeared on your page as some sort of scribbly wibbly thing. The idea that we will do in a moment is that you follow, if you were to make this in real space, as is often done, temporary or permanent labyrinths, you follow the path in between the lines. And what we're going to do is follow the path with our finger. So in fact, I'm just going to invite you to do that fairly quickly now. Just follow the path with your finger, just to double check, and keep between the lines. Sometimes you have to squeeze between your wibbly wobbly lines. You might even choose to use a different coloured pencil to leave a trace like breadcrumbs to check where you've been, because you kind of feel like you're nearly at the centre, and then suddenly you're out again, and then you come back in again. So in theory, you are tracing every single part of this journey. But I am going to use my highlighter pen to just double check that I have. If you use a pencil or a pen to just with a different colour, just to double check, have you covered every single circuit of this path? And like life, we spiral back in on ourselves. We think we've made it, and then we suddenly turn a corner. We're getting further away again. But eventually, like life, there is only one path. There is only one end. So you will make it to the middle. Your center, you could think of that as your heart, your life's journey. And when we walk it in a more meditative fashion, you could think of it as entering, centering, turning, and returning. These stages of the journey. You might think of something to release as you make your way into the center and receive something that you need.
Sorry, what were those words again? Enter, center.
Entering, centering.
Yeah.
Turning and returning.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be good to write those down. I'll put them in the chat as well. Entering, centering, turning and returning.